Hello guys, and Russian borders continue to collapse under the pressure of the Ukrainian armed forces. Another totally different part of the Russian border collapsed in Kursk region after the successful special military operation of Ukrainian soldiers from the 95th Separate Air Assault Brigade. It was a difficult task, taking into account that all of Russia's attention is now in Kursk region with thousands and thousands of their soldiers, but they could do nothing. And more parts of this Russian region is now under Ukrainian control. What makes this specifically important is the fact that according to Ukrainian intelligence, according to the documents collected in Russian military units that are now under the control of Ukraine, and even according to the research of The Guardian, Russians knew about the preparation of Kursk special military operation by the Ukrainian army, but could do nothing. Well, I'm sure sometime soon the Kremlin will collapse just as these borders of Russia in Kursk region, and we need to discuss what is so wrong with this dying empire, if even knowing about the preparation of this special military operation in Kursk, they did not do anything. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Russia defeated, subscribe. We will discuss that on the channel sometime soon, just as we discussed the collapse of Russian borders in Kursk region. I'm sure many of you will agree, something that seemed totally impossible at the very start of the full-scale invasion. And it even seemed quite impossible since the discovery of our special military operation after Ukraine took under control 100 of settlements, including Suja, and Russia decided to redirect lots of their troops to Kursk to protect their country. And with all the soldiers moving from Ukrainian front lines, which is beautiful and one of the main reasons why we have actually developed this operation, they are not able to stop Ukrainian soldiers from moving deeper inside this evil Russian Federation and also breaking its borders. So another collapse of another important part of this Kursk border happened today. There are videos made by the 95th Separate Air Assault Brigade where they actually demonstrate everything from the very start of their special military operation to its successful ending with the total destruction of the part of the border and further movement deep inside the Russian Federation. They began with the demining of the territory because right now, knowing the danger is coming from Ukraine, Russians try to mine not only our territories but also their own. So it all began with demining of the territory, with sappers working, and then further movement of Ukrainian troops deep inside the Kursk region. I am sorry, I will definitely disappoint Russia's supporters and trolls, but more than 100 of settlements in Kursk are successfully, calmly under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces. Suja is under our control. We have invited Red Cross and United Nations to support their missions to protect civilians because we are not orcs. And now another part of Kursk border open for the entrance of more of Ukrainian soldiers and control over this territory that will in future be exchanged for 1991 borders. This is a very important operation, good for the morale of Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainian people, very bad for the Russian soldiers. They feel super demotivated and actually they can do nothing about the advances of the Ukrainian army. Subscribe to see Ukrainian soldiers liberating Kremlin, because Kremlin definitely needs not just liberation but exorcism. Honestly, I was surprised to read the documents and afterwards an article, a very thorough article in The Guardian, about the fact that actually commanders of the Russian army knew about the preparation of the Ukrainian Kursk operation, that we were actually gathering soldiers at the borders. And believe me, in active war, people watch each other's movements very carefully. So they saw that there were some data from intelligence sources, and they actually knew that Ukraine is getting ready for something. It may be that as classical bullies, they thought we will not dare. Believe me, you'll see many more very special things that we dare to do to evil invaders. And also, this is how totalitarian regimes live. Nobody wants to disappoint a person that is higher in the hierarchy. So they are lying about everything. They know that everyone is lying, but literally there was no one willing to tell Putin that Ukraine is developing Kursk special military operation. Perhaps Gerasimov knew about that. He did not want to speak about that. Then people under Gerasimov did not want to tell it to Gerasimov, and so on and so forth. So literally, this pathetic Russian soldiers guarding totally unprotected Russian borders were left alone. This is typical Russian attitude to their people, and they could do nothing about the start of Ukrainian, I cannot say offensive because actually it's a counter-offensive. And it is a beautiful illustration for those who want wars. Don't start a war, because it will always return back to you. According to the intelligence data, and let's not look into Ukrainian, you may say I'm subjective. Let's look into other intelligence services, satellite images. We can clearly see that right now Russia bombs its own Kursk region much more than it does Sumy. Traditionally, we suffer from Russian shellings and attacks, but this happened even in times when we did not fight on the Russian side. And actually bringing war back home to Russia is a good way to distort lots of their soldiers, to take them away from Ukrainian front lines and return them back to Russia where they belong. And right now, the scorched earth policy that Russia was famous for on the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine is heavily practiced on their own lands when they erase Suja and other Russian settlements from the face of earth. This is insane, and this is another proof that the world should let Ukraine fight with both hands, should let Ukraine strike back, should help Ukraine demilitarize Russia, and thus save not only Ukraine, not only Europe, not only the world, but even evil zombified Russians who are now bombed and murdered by their own president. Not for the first time in history. Believe me, those of you who follow Russian politics know that not once Putin used various bloody provocations to start wars in Chechnya or elsewhere. If he needs a reason, he will do whatever he wants to his people, not caring about anyone's life, health, or whatever. That's why not just the collapse of Kremlin, but the exorcism inside of Kremlin. Hope I pronounced the word correctly. And Kursk operation also demonstrated that Putin is short of people, and even under such conditions he is afraid to start mobilization, because right now it can actually touch big cities in Russia, and he is afraid of protests or at least some dissatisfaction there. And it's actually interesting that even under such conditions he does not order Lukashenko. He is a totally dependent friend dictator to participate with his soldiers in this war. And there are reasons. Let me know in the comments below, would you like a video on that? Why Belarus, giving its territory, giving its weapon, does not give its people to the needs of Putin and his bloody Russian army. And I think the answer is quite unpredictable. Let me know in the comments below. And also, today I have recorded a very interesting conversation with a person whose videos I love watching. This is a really good military analyst, and honestly, there are some things in my viewpoints, in my vision of this war, that his videos changed. Soon it will appear on the channel, but it's interesting for me. Can you guess whom am I talking about? Let me know in the comments below. Join me on Instagram, X, Threads, and Discord. The links are in the description of this video. Also, check our merch shop for lots of really good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. I am honored to have you in my life, and I'm very grateful for the opportunities that you give me and time that you help me get to work more on the channel, on the book, and more interesting projects and interviews to come. But most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. I am sure together we will win. And our victory means total military defeat of Russia. Slava Ukraini!